Alright guys, today I decided to wake up and put together part 2 of the appointment setting masterclass, okay? And it's not really working out because it's like 3 p.m. over here in Costa Rica, but you get my point. My promise is that by the end of this video, you're going to once and for all stop struggling to book appointments and learn how to convert a content engager, either someone who likes or comments on your content, a lead you get from your paid ad campaigns, whether it's a lead form or some sort of BSL funnel or something like that, or a follower or a positive reply from your outbound campaigns into a booked appointment in your calendar with a prospect who is educated. If that's something that you're interested in learning, stick till the end because you're going to get all of the tips and tricks. You're going to get all of the secrets in this video. That out of the way, guys, let's just hop to a computer and let's get started right away. But before we do that, as always, thank you for watching. Okay guys, the first thing that I will say is that if you want to get access to the document that I'm going to be using in this video, you can get access to it absolutely for free, of course, by joining my free Facebook group with the link in the description. In part 1, we discussed the complete understanding of our appointment setting thesis. And I actually walked you guys through everything that has to do with deciding the opportunity channels, or how the main function of having an appointment setter or installing some sort of appointment setting flows into our company is to convert the attention that we get either from our ads, our content, or our outbound campaigns into booked appointments in our calendar. Okay, so this is something that we discussed in the first part of the video. I will leave the link in the description of this video so that you can go and watch it in case that you haven't. But that out of the way, let's just continue with this one. What we're going to really master in the actual details of this video is going to be about the combo appointment setting framework that I've used to book more than 1,000 sales calls from our social media prospecting efforts. Okay. And if you want to book more calls, the worst thing that you could ever do is simply freestyle your way or freestyle all your conversations to hopefully make someone go from not having a conversation or not having any context into a booked call. Okay? And listen, this is going to work for organic marketing, for paid ads, whatever it might be. I promise this is going to work as long as you actually stick to the process I'm going to describe it in here. All right? So taking someone from no conversation or context to a booked call takes a lot of energy, and you cannot simply raw dog your way there by simply asking random questions and having up a unique process every single time. Because that's also why if you ever had a setter that doesn't hit KPIs or they don't even build enough meetings, it's simply because you don't have a proven process, a proven script to take someone from, again, a content engager or follower or new lead from your paid ad campaigns into a booked appointment. So that's why I built a conversational flow named Combo that allows us to build a mental framework to take any interaction from the opportunity channels that I mentioned on the previous video to a book call in our calendar. The only thing that I need you guys to understand is that this doesn't mean that you will simply copy paste all of the conversations going from one question to the next, okay? As a matter of fact, here is a rule of thumb that I like to follow and that I actually teach to all of the appointment setters or my clients whenever they're doing any sort of DM appointment setting process. And it is that you never continue with the script unless you first resonate and mirror what the other person says, aka making them feel understood. Because if you're never able to connect at a deeper level with your prospects or with your leads, essentially, what is going to happen is that you are going to have less calls booked, which is of course a problem right off the get-go. But even assuming don't change anything in regards to the amount of calls booked, what is going to happen is that the quality of the meetings are going to be more transactional and it's going to be more superfluous, if that makes sense. We need to actually feel engaged, understand the prospect, and take them from cold to sold. Okay, and the only way in which we take them from not feeling understood and stuck to being excited to hop on a conversation with you, your sales team, or whatever it might be. Okay, so that's the first thing that I need you guys to understand. This is not going to be like an idea for you to copy paste these things that I'm going to share. I want you to think of this more as a framework for you to know, like, okay, we finished with the contextual questions, then the outcome, and then the now, etc. You're going to learn about that in a second. And last thing is that if the appointment setting process was just about asking questions to strangers without any sort of humanity, right, appointment setters wouldn't be needed, and that could be easily replaced by AI. But at least to this date, today is September 13th, that's not the case, and that's why I need you guys to actually learn the skill of appointment setting by actually replying and resonating with your prospects, okay? That said, let's get down to the combo framework. And the first thing that I want you guys to know is that the combo framework stands for the following, questions, okay? It essentially means that you're, first of all, whenever you engage into a conversation and you have an opportunity channel, you're going to always start with contextual and connecting questions, number one. And once you're done with that, you're going to ask outcome questions like, future pacing the desires of your prospects. Once you're done with those questions, you're going to ask now questions like where they are now and they can fill the gap of whatever it is that they want to go in regards to where they are now. Then you're going to do the vent, which is essentially asking for some sort of pulse check from the prospect in regards to what they feel like they need so that we can actually offer them or pitch them the sales call. Make sense? So I will leave an actual SOP over there in the document, but I will not go into that right now. Let's just get started right now with this process, okay? And remember, the goal of the contextual questions or the connecting questions is that outside of outbound campaigns and follow-ups, you always want to begin your conversations with some sort of contextual questions. Essentially, questions that allow the prospect to know why you're reaching out in the first place, which of course is going to increase the reply rates. And these questions can be used for any of the different opportunity channels that I mentioned above, okay? Like paid ads, content, etc. Excluding outbound campaigns because guess what? They already replied to the initial angle, or follow-ups since there's already a conversation and there's some context going on, you're just doing follow-ups, okay? That's the only exception. But again, let's say that you get a follower who liked a post on Instagram about riding motorcycles. Let's say that that's what your offer is all about. Then you're going to say, hey, name, thanks for liking my post on motorcycles. Do you also have one? Boom. Do you see how contextual that is? It's a question that is meant for you to connect with the prospect and essentially ask a question that doesn't add friction to the conversation, okay? Another example. Let's say that someone commented on one of your action posts inside of your Facebook group, for example. Then you're going to say, hey, name, saw your comment on my post about whatever your post was about. Are you free to chat later today? Just say it was the back and forth here. Why? Because this was an action post. Do you see how important it is to have context? And that's why it's contextual questions. Okay? The next part is when you have a new group member, for example, who said no to wanting help, you're going to say, hey, name, hope you're doing good. I just added you to my Facebook group. Welcome in. By the way, we like to give new members different trainings relevant to their business. What do you do? Okay? Again, context, connection, first of all. Let's say that on Twitter, you get a new follower. You can be like, hey, dude, appreciate the follow. Notice that whatever is it that they do, how's that going so far? You see, the point of the connecting questions is simply to have some context and connect with the prospect because it's very low friction. And ultimately, it allows you to, once you build a little bit more rapport by asking 1, 2, or 3, depending on how hot the prospect is, you go into the next step, which is the outcome question or the now question. You're going to see that those are interchangeable, but that's the point. About connecting question, these are easy to respond questions to build more rapport with your leads and that obviously highly depend on the context that generated the conversation in the first place. But at the same time, allow you to have or add some sort of business direction to the conversation, and this is what you want to use in every single interaction, including outbound campaigns, okay? Excluding, of course, cold email because you're not going to do the combo framework on cold email, okay? In cold email is more straightforward. So at this point, you want to be mirroring the written tonality to see if they feel hotter or colder. And what you want to do is keep asking connecting questions until you feel that they are ready to continue to the next stage, aka the now or the outcome questions. Does that make sense so far? If this is being helpful, let me know in the comments, guys. But the most important skill inside of appointment setting is literally just feeling or detecting that tonality of the specific prospect, okay? Because you're going to have generalized SOPs and scripts that everybody should be leveraging inside of your company. But at the same time, the specific appointment setter needs to be able to see the specific prospect they're talking with right there and then, how they are feeling, how they are reacting, because based on that, maybe they can skip 2 or 3 types of questions and go straight to the offer. Because that's something that can also happen. Well, this is an example of back when I had like 200 followers on Twitter, how I actually booked a call with a guy that had like 20,000. And again, I don't want to read everything right now because otherwise the video is going to be super long. I will just scroll super slow so that you guys can see like the process in action. And this is very, very cool, by the way, because in this example, I ask the entire combo framework. I ask from connecting to outcome to now to vent, etc. So I will just start scrolling really, really slow. And yeah, you can read it, pause the video in case that you need to, and then continue watching, okay? Okay, cool. Hopefully you were able to read everything. Once you're done with the contextual and connecting questions, you're going to go to the outcome questions, okay? These questions can be interchangeable with the now questions, like I was saying before, and these are all about understanding what's the goal of your prospect with something that is relevant to your offer, so that you can actually know if you can help them in the first place. So some examples, and obviously all of this will depend on the connecting question that you asked before, so adjust the conversation from there. So, for example, if the person, after they reply to your connecting questions for a business coaching offer, you can be like, awesome, dude, where are you looking to take this business to in the next 6 months? You send that one, and then you say, in terms of revenue, lol. You send that one. Let's say you're selling a fitness offer for weight loss, for example. You can be like, hey man, how much weight are you looking to lose in the next 2 months? Definitely have some ideas in mind. Send. Let's say you're doing a short form content offer, for example, on TikTok. It could be like, gotcha, man. So how many leads would you be looking to get daily from TikTok specifically in the next 3 to 4 months? Send. And then you send maybe a follow-up message. Not a follow-up message, but another line, essentially. And be like, assuming you crack that type of content there, lol. You see, something that it's just clear, guys. That's the point. Like, it's just clear, it's playful, it's a little bit frictionless, and that's the goal with this type of frameworks. Okay, for a paid ads for e-commerce offer, it can be like, okay, gotcha, makes sense. How much more would you be looking to expand in the Asian market in the next 3 to 4 months, assuming that you crack ads? Send. Just asking, since you mentioned that you're not sure if you should continue going into this market. Send. Do you see? Like, that's it. Like, once you're done with these outcome questions, you can then bring people now into the now questions. Again, these questions can be interchanged with the outcome questions depending on the context you're having with the prospect. Okay. So some examples after they reply to your outcome questions for a lead generation or appointment setting offer, it can be like, okay, love the goal, man, especially because of something specifically that they saw in the conversation. And where are you at the moment, if you don't mind me asking? That's one option. Or maybe you can be like, awesome, man, and how are you currently getting most of your clients, if you don't mind me asking? You see, like, so that you can, now that you know where they want to go, maybe you can see what are they doing now so that you can bend and offer them something different to what they are already doing. For example, let's say you're selling an email marketing service. It could be like, gotcha, how much revenue are you currently generating from your email sequences, if you don't mind me asking? Just asking since, I have some further trainings that I could share with you on this, but not sure yet. Or for a YouTube ad service for SaaS, it could be something like, so what's making you want to try YouTube ads instead of Facebook ads, for example? Just the creatives like you said before, or something else? You see, like, that's how you go around it, and then we go to the event. And the event, by the way, guys, is optional, just when the prospect is not evidently hot. And it's just asking them for their opinion on whatever they feel that like they need most, and the keyword in here is feel, okay? Because the goal here is to bring their evident pain point to have an excuse to invite them on a call. So if you say, okay, why are you not getting the results that you want? They are going to be like, dude, well, because if I knew, I would actually do it. Instead, if you ask, hey, what do you feel is the thing that you need in order to get that outcome that you described that you wanted before? Just trying to spark some thoughts. Then they are going to be like, oh man, like I think that is this and that. Then you can justify, mirror the reply and invite them on the call, okay? So some examples can be like, dude, like what do you feel like you need in order to get that goal that they want into? What do you think is making you not close that many deals right now, out of curiosity? Oh, gotcha, dude, like what do you feel is stopping you from booking more calls right now? Just time or something else, maybe. Okay, then they're going to reply and they're going to be, oh man, my kids, oh man, my family, oh man, my 9 to 5, hey man, like I hate outbound, oh man, I just don't have any time to do business because I'm just stuck watching Enrique's YouTube videos, okay, whatever it might be. And then once you're done with that and you have an excuse, invite them on the offer or to the sales call, you're going to the offer, which is actually inviting the sales call. What I like to do is summarize what they shared so far and tailor it to them so that they see that there's intrinsically value in hopping in the meeting, okay? Because most of our calls we close in 2 calls, okay? If it's outbound or some sort of thing like that, I prefer to do 2 call closing because that's just like frictionless in the eyes of the prospect. For people who come inbound, I might do a 1 call close, okay? But the point I'm trying to make is you want to make hopping into a call intrinsically valuable so that they're most likely to accept hopping on the call in the first place, okay? So the wrong way to do it is when people say, I hear you, bro. Well, man, like I like to invite you on a free strategy session so that I can tell you about my program. Does that work? Right? And I literally used to send this, that's a copy paste from one guy that I asked to hop on a call with me, thinking that it was a super good method back in the day, but actually I think that I booked a meeting, but it was really hard to go with this sort of approach. What I like to do nowadays instead is something like this. What I can say once they've replied to the event, okay, they tell me what they feel they need in order to get their goal. I say something like, dude, I heard you in that. Like, also be one of my biggest struggles when I was starting. Listen, man, like, if it'd be helpful, how about if we maybe hop on a 10-minute call one of these days to see if I can show you some of the frameworks that we've used in the past to solve pain points that they're shared? Send. Would that be helpful? Send. Super frictionless, right? And important note, once they accept to hop on a call, you don't want to simply send their calendar link. You want to ask for permission first, saying something like, for example, okay, they accept to hop on a call and they can be like, okay, cool, mind if I draw my calendar here? That way you can choose the time that works best for you and save us the back and forth, LOL. And guess what? From that point onwards, what is going to happen is that they're going to actually be like, okay, yeah, man, drop it. And then you send a calendar link and they're going to book the meeting. Okay? Super, super simple. I also recommend you have a CRM where you keep track of people who accept hopping on a call, and that's how you go around it. And what I recommend you guys do, by the way, and this is a document that you're going to have access to right now, is if you actually join my free Facebook, you're going to get access to this entire training, etc. But inside of this training, there is this process or this part that is going to show you how to create your own appointment setting scripts, okay? Because I want you to understand the importance of having a script when you're doing any sort of appointment setting flow. And it is because, and this is a quote from Jordan Belfort, one of the key reasons why you want to have or use a script for prospecting is that each industry has its own unique set of questions that need to be asked in a certain order, okay? And if you try to wing it, or like I said at the beginning, by the way, just freestyle their way over there, as opposed to having all of your questions mapped out in advance in precisely the right order, then the chances of you remembering all of the questions or asking them all in the right order is slim to none. And each mistake you will make will have a negative impact in your ability to gather information. And that's also why, imagine that you yourself are starting to book prospects into your calendar for your offer. Imagine that you wanted to bring an appointment setter and hopefully you cross your fingers for them to book meetings. It's going to be close to impossible, right? That's why we actually want to have as close as possible to a proven SOP that we can just copy paste, or not copy paste, but that we can just leverage in our conversation so that people can do at scale the work that we're trying to do. And another major benefit of using a prospecting script is that since you already know what words you're going to say, your conscious mind is freed up from the focus on applying the right tonality to your words, as well as to what your prospect says in communicating back to you. Aside of all of these, guys, if you're tracking KPIs and refine your script, by the time that you start bringing in an appointment setter, they'll have way easier time booking calls. So when you get access to this document, what I want you guys to do is create the 3 types of messages that you want to add to your appointment setting scripts. And that's what I call the openers or conversation starters, the qualifiers, which is essentially the COMV, part of the combo framework, and which essentially stands for the key criteria that you need to see if someone is a fit to work with you or not. And third type of messages is what I call the invitations/offers, which stands for the actual, offer, if inviting people to a call, which is the go-to sentence or questions to transition from DMs to calls booked, okay? And what we're going to do, once you get access to this document, you're going to have access to this appointment setting script so that you can essentially, for outbound prospecting campaigns, add your combo framework. For Facebook group joins and community funnel, add your combo framework, etc. For follow-ups, add your combo framework, okay? And you top this with our automation for you to actually do up to 1,000 outbound DMs per day, just using the Paste app or Blaze. I mean, it's just game over at that point because you're going to book so many calls that you're going to hate me because you're going to be so busy. Okay, guys? So, guys, with that, we end the video. If you are interested in working with us and seeing a little bit of what partnering together would look like, go ahead to the link in the description. Thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate you. I don't give that for granted. And see you guys in the next one. Bye.